Hello there, Daniel here. Pokemon of the Week this week is going to be Weavile, brought up in the 4th generation. It has two abilities now. Pressure, the ability where every time a Pokemon uses a move against you, it uses 2 PP rather than 1. Useful for story Pokemon, not hugely useful for Weavile. Its other ability, the hidden ability, Pickpocket, is absolutely useless for Weavile because it requires the opponent to contact you and for Weavile to have no item. So really, you're never going to see that used. It is in the UU tier now. It used to be in the OU tier in the 4th generation when it was first created, but now it's in the UU tier due to incredible new threats for it in the OU tier. It could still function very well in the OU tier, but UU is now where it resides. Being Dark and Ice type, which is unique for it and its pre-evolution Sneasal, it has a unique set of resistances, weaknesses, and immunity. It has 3 resistances to Dark, Ghost, and Ice. Unfortunately, Ice is a very bad defensive typing, so it doesn't have any resistance other than itself. As for weaknesses, you've got 5, and one of them is a quad weakness to Fighting. And considering Fighting has 2 priority moves, that's why Weavile will struggle in the OU tier. That and it's weak to Steel as well, which has another very common priority move. It is immune to Psychic though, so at least you can switch in on one type. The stat distribution for Weavile is very handy. With its base speed of 125, you're speeding pretty much everything. Only in the top echelon tiers will you find Jolteon outspeeding, for example, and very, very few others. Its base attack of 120 is very promising and means that, with a stat distribution like this, many sweeping sets and many sweeping attempts can be used. The first set, there we go, is pretty common in that you run a choice band and have the jolly nature to ensure you outspeed everybody. The EVs are very obvious for this set. Maximise your attack and your speed, and whatever's left in your EVs just throw somewhere. Really, it doesn't matter. The moves. Really, there's not a lot of option in this either. There's only one contentious issue. Do you go for a strong Dark type move or a strong Ice type move as your last move? Going for Ice Punch means that if you were in the OU tier trying to use this, obviously all the Dragon types are going to take a considerably stronger hit from that, and that will be very much necessary considering Dragonite has multi-scale. On the flip side, Night Slash does mean that if you're up against a Psychic type and you don't think that it will flee, and obviously if it doesn't flee, Pursuit is a pretty weak move, even super effective, using Night Slash is very handy. Also, being locked into Pursuit is not ideal. As if the opponent doesn't switch, being locked into Pursuit is a bit of a nightmare. Low Kick is definitely the choice to use over Brick Break, even if you're going in the UU tier, because as it says there, if the opponent weighs more than 50 kilograms, Low Kick does more damage. It is as simple as that. Low Kick no longer has the secondary effect where it can possibly flinch the opponent, but it still will have stronger attacking power. Brick Break's utility removing Reflect and Light Screen isn't really worth it. If you want to have a Brick Break on a Pokemon, this is not the one to pick, really. I mean, if you like knowing that your Pokemon will do the same damage time after time after time, that is the only reason to use Brick Break, because Low Kick generally will be stronger. Ice Shard is obviously there for the priority, and with a Choice Band it hits reasonably hard. Ice is a fantastic attacking type, bear that in mind. Unlike Dark, Ice really can plow through a lot of fragile Pokemon. The second set of 3, as you know, I like to do 3, is very, very similar. And if you look at the EVs, they are identical. If you look at the nature and item, it's pretty similar. Instead of going for a choice band, you go for a Life Orb. Life Orb gives you the power boost, but at the same time, you can switch moves. So being locked in to Ice Shard, for example, which could be a problem with the choice band set, you can get around that now. And this is also reasonably common. This is actually very, very, very common in 4th generation from my personal experiences. And what you do here is you get up Swords Dance, and with a Swords Dance, your attack is lethal. Even priority Ice Shard with base power 40 plus stab does a very, very heavy amount of damage. Low kick is just there. If you're in UU, which would be the place that I'd be running this specific set in, Pokemon like Snorlax is why you have low kick, because that will destroy such a heavy Pokemon. Your choice of ice type move again depends on, do you want to make sure you go first, or do you want to make sure you have maximum damage output all the time? I would base this around what your team has in general. If you have priority users already, I personally would go for Ice Punch. Night Slash in UU is very handy. Much more so than it is in OU, because OU has a very large number of Pokemon that resist, a lot of Steel types, albeit some of them are Steel Psychic. And there is one Steel Psychic of its own in UU, which is Bronzong. But Night Slash on the whole is a good move to use in that tier. You do have to bear in mind that with Life Orb you are slowly going to whittle your health away, so this will not last forever, so I would recommend setting this up late game and trying to sweep the team away. Playing this out early is going to ruin the surprise appeal, and the fact that, well, frankly, anything of all sorts of magnitudes can come into account here. Anything with Map Punch, pretty much, that isn't weak to ice is going to cause you a real issue. The third set is a bit different. Now, this was a Pokemon set that was really quite common on Pokemon Battle Revolution, and people would try using it in other gaming mediums, but the effect was pretty limited. But that's because you have to be really, really, really intelligent when it comes to using it. With a Pokemon that has a Focus Sash and Counter as a combination, you absolutely have to have a Rapid Spinner. There is no way around that. If you do not have a Rapid Spinner, this set will not work. Because Focus Sashes only work if you're at 100% health. There's quite a lot of choices, though, to go with a set like this. You can either go for 4 EVs in speed or 252. And I have written just at the bottom here, and I will show you. 4 EVs in speed will allow you to speed tie 108 base speed neutral Pokemon, neutral nature Pokemon that is, outspeed all positive nature base 90 speed, and all 105 speed neutral nature. So bear that in mind. The reason I would say go for your EVs in health is because obviously Counter will do more. With 252 EVs in HP combined with Counter, you are going to do enough damage to one-hit KO pretty much any Pokemon in return, because obviously Blissey and Chansey are not going to hit you back with a physical move setting off Counter. So with 252 EVs in speed, all Pokemon that will attack you physically will faint. The downsides obviously with that is that this set is very high risk. If it doesn't work properly, it won't work at all. Which is why I've suggested, as a bit of a compromise, going for the 4 EVs in HP and putting the rest in speed. Because even if the technique doesn't work, and for example you do take Stealth Rock damage on the way in, and obviously then your Focus Sash will fail, you at least then have the speed to be able to outspeed the opposition and use either Ice Punch or Night Slash respectively. If you feel that that is the method you would go for, it might even be worth replacing Ice Shard with one of the 2 moves below to make sure you have both of them. It's all about preference and how much risk you want to take. Taunt is there to minimise the risk, because with Taunt the opponent can only attack you. It has been nerfed in 5th generation, so it only works for 3 turns though. So bear that in mind. I hope you've enjoyed listening to the video, everybody. Peace out.
If you enjoyed the video you've just seen, please join my Facebook group and follow me on Twitter for the latest news.